Okay, in beautiful country of St. Kitts today. It's about the third week of January 2022 when I'm doing this video. Wanted to talk to today because this comes up a lot from people. They say, you know, I want to get the passport, Tom, but I'm just not going to move to St. Kitts. It's an island. There's just no friggin' way I'm going to go from a city life to a small little island. And you know what? I can totally sympathize with what you're saying, because I'm going to tell you a little bit about my ventures when I actually came down here the first time in 2004. I actually came down here on a business trip and actually, you know, checking around here too, and to see if I wanted, you know, to actually live in St. Kitts. And I was here maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Took some time off to come down here, and be honest with you, when I first came here, I said, you know, there's just no way I can move here. And it's just so different in that, when I say different, it's very small. But what I didn't see was, I'm used to big city life and stuff, but when I came to St. Kitts, you know, it was almost too quiet. And I didn't see the things that as you get older, you're not going to see this now, but as you get older, and like I say, this was like almost 20 years ago, like I was in my, you know, 40s when I came here, or roughly almost about 40, I think it's close to 50 right in there, is I said, you know, there were things that I noticed that I really liked, especially when I came out to Frigate Bay, was the nice weather. Like, we're in the third week of January now. Most places in the Western Hemisphere, pretty cold, freezing cold. You know, a lot of places have snow. I'm out here on a nice day. It's about 80 degrees. I'm gonna tell you, it beats the other end of the world where you got freezing cold weather, and you don't have this hot heat in the summer that a lot of places do, even in Florida or North Carolina where I grew up. You know, because we actually had weather that around 4th of July hit like 100 degrees, over 100 sometimes. You never have that here. It just never gets that hot. About the high 80s. Sometimes it slips in the low 90s, but it's real rare it hits in the 90-degree mark. It's real rare it does that. So you get in the 80s almost all year round, which is really nice, unless you like freezing cold weather, which I don't like. And so when I left, I said, you know, I don't think I can move here. It's just, it's not for me. And it wasn't until I came back the second time, that's when I started seeing, you know, I started gradually liking the place more and more, because there were so many things I could do here all year round that I couldn't do other places. And like right now I'm on the Marriott golf course, walking towards the Marriott now. And this is one good example right here. If you're a golfer and you like playing golf or tennis, you don't have to go out here and search and get in your car to drive for an indoor tennis court. If you're playing golf, you can forget it. Most places, it's, you know, you got snow on the ground, just forget golf. Here you can play all year round, which is, if you're a big golfer, man, this is nice. It's like haven. And I'll tell you something else. I actually grew up playing golf, and then I quit it years before because I wanted to pick up tennis. And tennis to me was the sport I wanted to play. I really want to put 100% in it. But I'll tell you something about golf. You really have to practice it a lot. You know, it's kind of like tennis. To really get the best in it, you've got to practice it all the time. And you got to really love it. Very difficult to do that in a cold climate. And in tennis, you can play indoors. Golf, you can't do that. It's very difficult to find a place that's got an indoor golf rink, you know, or a golf course. You're just not going to see it. Here, you can play all year round. You can practice, and you can live right up in here in the beauty of Frigate Bay, right here, and come out on the golf course right in your backyard 365 days a year. We don't have a monsoon season here, so this is if you're a lover of golf, man, this is like heaven on earth for you. And I'll tell you something else that's really neat that you don't hear about a lot, is the Marriott's golfing fees are incredibly cheap. I've put that on another tape before. It's probably one of the cheapest I've seen for a golf facility. And that was one thing I did not like about golf when I was growing up. I wanted to get in a sport that was not going to tax my parents to death, you know, because I wanted something that was a lot cheaper, and tennis was a lot cheaper than golf. So, you know, getting a place that's really inexpensive to play golf all year round, and then living in a place that's really nice, and they got a real nice golf club here. This is like heaven on earth. I mean, it's, and you might not particularly be a golfer. Go over here to the Caribbean side. You can sail all the time, snorkel all the time, go skin diving, all kinds of things that you can do here. I mean, I just can't overemphasize. There are things that I came down the first time I really didn't see. I think I came down here in the summertime. Was the reason I had come from summer weather in the States to over here. And you don't appreciate it until you're actually down here. Now, irrespective of other things, which I'm going to talk about too. Also, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 45 days, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen. You'll get new videos automatically as they come out. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we got over 600 videos that you can look at. Pick up all of these good tips I'm going over with you right now. Help you make a good decision when you do make a decision where you want to go. And again, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. Okay, now let's look at some of these other advantages. One thing I haven't even hit on, you know, I hit the weather a lot, but how many places can you go that has no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax? A property tax is 0.20%. with a $29,600 US exclusion before that 0.20% kicks in. Folks, you're just not going to find it. And you might find a place that's got good weather. When you add up all the tax advantages this place has got, you know, I talk about Dubai and St. Kitts a lot. And I tell you something, Dubai, 6 months of the year, it's almost very difficult to be outside. It's so hot outside. You have to do stuff inside because, in fact, people hibernate to moths from about April until, gosh, throughout almost to November. The 1st of November is the only time you get a really break in the heat. And then from November to about, I would say, through March, and then, you know, April is when the heat really starts to kick back in. In May, it's in full force, man. It's like a furnace room when you walk outside. Of course, there are other things too I've talked about with Dubai. You know, it's not a free country. I've told people this before. I saw a video just the other day on YouTube, and they were asking this lady a couple of things, and she says, "Well, I would tell you, but I want to have the freedom to stay here." And that told me something right there. This lady, she couldn't even say what her mind was. She was afraid that somebody would just kick her out of the country, confiscate her assets. I mean, this is the type of thing that you see in a country that's not free. Sure, there's no income tax there, but that doesn't mean it's free, okay? You want a democracy where you live. You want that. Now somebody put one day, which made a lot of sense, I don't disagree with them, is a lot of democracies end up become socialistic because most people vote for the freebies and the handouts. That's true. I mean, this is what's happened in the United States. Most countries that are free tax worldwide income to its residents, or they have a system like the U.S. does that taxes you based on citizenship. These are some things that you have to consider, you know, when you do go on a democracy, but not all places that have democracies are like that. Cayman Islands has got a democracy. They have a free type government, but they have no income tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. And these are some things that you can look at. I do like St. Kitts better than the Caymans for many reasons, which I've mentioned before, because it's a lot cheaper to live in St. Kitts than in the Cayman Islands. And, you know, it's also, if you get the passport in St. Kitts, your visa-free travel is a lot better than in the Caymans. And the Caymans doesn't have a fast-track program where you can get the citizenship and passport in 45 days. That's another key thing that you have to look at. But there's so many advantages that St. Kitts has over the Cayman Islands. And, you know, I started thinking about all these different places, the advantages, disadvantages, things like this in these different countries. And then you start coming down and you start comparing it, and then you say, gee, this has got a lot to offer. a lot of things to offer that you don't get anywhere else. And you can do that a lot easier because it is a small country, a small island. Now, one of the biggest complaints I have that come up, they say, Tom, St. Kitts is a small country, it's a small island. Well, you know, it's I would tell people that's why you get all these advantages. Big countries, you can't have that. I mean, how many big countries have this a free country that doesn't have an income tax, capital gains tax, estate tax, inheritance tax? You've got to be able to control that. And the bigger our country has as far as population goes, you got more and more people that want the freebies and the handouts. They don't want to go out and work for a living. They like socialistic type programs. You don't see that as much in smaller countries. This is why a lot of these tax-free places are smaller type places. They're either island type countries or they're in the Gulf region. But a lot of the regions in the Gulf are run by dictators. And so you're going to have to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. I want to be in a country that's free, where I can talk and not have to worry about somebody, you know, going after me because freedom of speech. You know, you don't want that. And it's not until you run into a problem like that you start to see that country's not free. And you can't just look at income taxes. You got to look at a lot of things. So these are some things that I think you should think about before you end up picking a country, before you do an international move. And I will tell you this, I think you're more likely going to see a territorial tax system change and give in more than a pure tax haven. Pure tax havens have gotten to the point they've been used to not even having an income tax, whereas territorial tax systems do have an income tax. They're used to having an income tax locally, not outside the country. So for them to transition to a tax on worldwide income is a lot easier than a pure tax haven. Pure tax havens, the people don't want it. You got pretty much two political parties in St. Kitts. You got the Labour Party and you got the PAM Party. Neither want an income tax, okay? You take the most liberal party here, doesn't want the income tax. In fact, the most liberal party here is more conservative than the most conservative party in the U.S., which is basically the Republican Party. I don't even call that party conservative because I don't see anybody in that party that really wants to scrap the income tax except maybe Ron Paul. I mean, there are a few other ones. Most of them don't want to do that. So if your goal is to live in a place that's tax-free, nice weather all year round, you can play golf whenever you want, 365 days a year unless there's a storm, this is it, you know? I don't know why people they keep looking for other things, and this is why you look at these videos so you can determine which is better for you. Now, I'll tell you something. I have some people that say, well, you know, I don't like this, I don't like that, it's too slow there. You're always going to find something that's not going to be to your specifics, to everything you like, okay? I have that too here. I mean, there's things that I can't pick up, and it's hard to deal with. Sometimes it's maybe on the slowness and stuff and getting things done. But, you know, I can deal with that. To me, that doesn't take away your freedom. What takes away your freedom is when you're paying out 50% of your money in income tax. To me, that's what where your loss of freedom lies, not something dealing with slowness or inadequacy or something like that. I mean, to me, that's a minor thing that you can adjust to. You know, so these are things that you've got to look at and say, you know, can I deal with that? Well, what I would suggest you do is come to St. Kitts and live for a while, okay? And they do have a lot of people that are over 100 years old here, and probably one reason why is there's no air pollution here. You don't have the stress of taxes and crap. It is a free government here, and I can go on and on. There's so many reasons here. You have a lot of people that live to be an old age, and you don't have problems with a lot of people. I think from traffic problems, people dying because I mean, this is a Sunday, but there's almost no cars coming by here. You can go out here on 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, of course, the tourism season has slowed down because of the coronavirus and somewhat, but still, the fact is you know, I came from Panama City, Panama, and before I came here, and I'll tell you something, Panama City has got the worst traffic